1,000 years ago. I fought my way out of that cave, became Iron Man.
According to reports, Franklin Richards, the son of Reed Richards and Sue Storm, is going to be a major player in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. Word is, he'll have some kind of connection to Galactus. And that's a big deal because Franklin Richards isn't just powerful, he's on another level. We're talking reality warping, molecule rearranging, god-tier abilities. At his peak, Franklin can literally reshape reality just by thinking about it, even on a cosmic scale. At one point, he accidentally created an entire pocket universe, a full-on replica of Earth 616, without even trying. That kind of power didn't go unnoticed. Heavy hitters like Galactus, Eternity, and the Celestials all recognized Franklin as one of the most dangerous beings in existence. The Celestials even considered making him one of their own, which is wild when you realize they're basically Marvel's gods. But it doesn't stop there. Franklin also has insane psionic abilities: telepathy, telekinesis, energy blasts, precognition, you name it. And even though he's just a kid, his potential is limitless. Some future versions of him have taken down Celestials in battle, and one even resurrected Galactus just to make him his herald. Now, if you know Marvel Comics, you might already be familiar with the history between Franklin and Galactus. But if not, here's a quick rundown. The first big encounter was in Fantastic Four number 175, during the Evolutionary War, where Galactus fought the High Evolutionary. At that point, Galactus didn't fully grasp how powerful Franklin was. Honestly, neither did we as readers. It wasn't until Fantastic Four number 242, when Franklin aged himself into an adult, that we really started seeing his insane reality warping abilities in action. Before that, it was all just speculation. Later, in Fantastic Four number 277, and especially in Fantastic Four Volume 3 number 46-49 by Carlos Pacheco, it became crystal clear how overpowered Franklin actually was. Galactus himself finally realized it too. One of the wildest storylines involving them was the Abraxas saga, where Galactus dies, unleashing a multiversal force of destruction named Abraxas, who then goes on a rampage, wiping out every version of Galactus he can find. At one point, Franklin Richards literally resurrects Galactus and reconstitutes the Ultimate Nullifier, the insanely powerful device that can erase anything from existence. This leads to the defeat of Abraxas, and more importantly, it's when Galactus truly realizes just how powerful Franklin really is. A few years later, in Fantastic Four number 520, written by Mark Waid, Galactus actually comes to Earth, intending to make Franklin his herald because of his insane abilities. Instead, things take a turn, and Johnny Storm ends up taking the role, becoming the Invisible Man. But as the comics progressed, especially in Mark Miller and Jonathan Hickman's runs, it became crystal clear that Franklin Richards is on the same power level as Galactus, if not more powerful. In fact, Galactus is actually afraid of Franklin. There's a moment in Hickman's run where Galactus comes to Earth to speak with Reed Richards. After their conversation, he bails fast, and Reed calls him out on it, asking why he was in such a hurry to leave. Galactus admits he wanted to avoid a confrontation. When Reed realizes what that means, he straight up says, "You're scared," and Galactus just confirms it. So if Franklin Richards is playing a big role in the MCU's Fantastic Four, it would make total sense for Galactus to show up, not to devour Earth, but to acquire Franklin. This brings up an interesting question. Why would Galactus be after Franklin Richards in the first place? One long-standing theory about the Fantastic Four movie is that Galactus doesn't actually come from the same universe as the Fantastic Four. Instead, he was somehow thrown into their reality. If the rumors are true, Galactus might be seeking out Franklin because he believes Franklin can recreate his lost universe. This would tie into the comic storyline where Galactus originally came from a previous version of the universe that ended, and now he just wants to restore what is lost, seeing Franklin as the key to making that happen. Another possibility? It could have something to do with the TVA. Maybe Galactus comes from a timeline that was pruned by the Time Variance Authority. And as we learn from Deadpool and Wolverine, once a timeline is pruned, it's gone. There's no bringing it back. Deadpool barely managed to save his own, but for Galactus, that might not be an option. No matter how you look at it, the idea of Galactus showing up to find Franklin makes a lot of sense, especially if he's from a universe that no longer exists. There are plenty of examples in Marvel Comics where, even if a universe is completely wiped out, some beings are powerful enough to survive the destruction. Two major examples: the Fury and Hyperion. The Fury comes from the Jasper's Crooked World storyline. It was an insanely powerful android created by Jim Jaspers on Earth 238. This thing could adapt to any superpower and overcome it. It wiped out every hero in its reality, forcing that world's Captain Britain to flee entirely. Even after Earth 238 was destroyed, the Fury survived and eventually found its way to Earth 616. Then there's Hyperion, the one from Earth 13034, introduced in Hickman's Avengers run. His backstory is basically Marvel's version of Superman, sent away from a dying world, raised by kind people, and eventually becoming a hero. But during the incursions, when universes started colliding, Hyperion actually held two universes apart for a few seconds before they inevitably crashed. And yet, despite his entire universe being erased, he survived in the empty void that was left behind, until AIM found him and brought him into the main Marvel universe. So if the MCU's version of Galactus is from a destroyed universe and is somehow still around, that would actually track with the kind of cosmic craziness Marvel Comics has done before. There is also a chance that MCU's Galactus might be framed as hyper-advanced, rather than purely mystical. Marvel has played with the idea that sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, Thor's lore being a prime example. If they apply that logic to Galactus, he might not be some unknowable god-tier cosmic force who wields the power cosmic just because. It could be that he's simply the last survivor of a hyper-scientific universe, one that was leagues ahead of anything we've seen. This actually lines up with Defenders Beyond, where it was revealed that each iteration of the multiverse carries something over from the last. A past multiverse was entirely magic-based, but when it collapsed, the concept of magic lived on in the next one, which became more science-based. Galactus comes from that scientific multiverse where everything was pushed to extreme levels of advancement. So if the MCU introduces Galactus as someone who isn't just a being of raw cosmic energy, but rather a product of next-level technology from a past multiverse, it wouldn't be out of place. It'd be different from the comics, but still lead to the same result: a god-tier entity with unimaginable power, just with a slightly more sci-fi twist. It definitely feels like Marvel is fast-tracking Franklin Richards' power levels for the MCU, which makes sense given how crucial he could be in shaping the future of the franchise. If Galactus arrives in Fantastic Four, Franklin's potential will likely be hinted at, even if they don't fully explain it yet. Either way, Franklin's introduction might mark the beginning of the age of reality warpers in the MCU, opening the door for Legion, Matthew Malloy, Proteus, and other mutants with insane abilities. What do you think? Would you rather Franklin be a full-on cosmic reality warper from the start, or should they slowly build him up over time? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, because we'll be covering more updates on this soon, and other exciting upcoming movies and series. We'll see you next time.